My name is Jimmy Angeles, and I work here with FKK. Very exciting news. This is actually our first um, video that we're putting together for you guys. I know that the club is doing a lot of good things about putting resources and this staff time, and we wanted to be proactive and target the older age groups, those age groups that are um, about to go to college or in the process of getting to college and stuff like that. This is our exciting news because now we're going to be able to have a Q&A with some college coaches that we're going to invite to this virtual Q&A that we put in together. With me today, we have Executive Director Hugh Menzies and also Director of Soccer Joe Avalon that will be able to answer some of the questions that we have. So the first question we'll want to go to is what kind of resources do FKK has for those players that are interested in playing at a college level? What kind of options do they have? Staff, events. What does FKK offer to their membership? Joe, you want to give us an answer on that?
Sure, I'll start, Jimmy. The first thing is all the leagues that we belong to. So the leagues that we belong to, college coaches obviously come out and recruit. So whether that's ECNL, NPL, or below, we do events as a club to drive coaches to those events. We contact those coaches, we bring them here. But the one thing that I think it really stands out in terms of resources as a club, frankly, is that we care. That's the bottom line. I mean, we've got coaches on our staff, Hugh Menzies, Mark, myself, Jimmy, and so many other coaches in this club. That's really our platform. Our platform is to get kids through the system, give them an enjoyable time playing this game of soccer, and then move them on to the next level, the collegiate level. And it's all about finding their right level. So our platform really, end of the day, of course, we have leagues. You have to have leagues, okay, proper leagues, absolutely. But you have to really have a passion for what you do. And that's what we have as a club.
Hugh, can you give us a little bit of an idea of what will be a process of a player that is interested in playing college, but the player is not an ECNL player? Is in a blue team or in a red team or an NPL team? What are the process from a regular player in that level to play college?
I probably should be asking you that question, Jimmy.
That's true.
You're the master of it, and that's why you're a valuable asset to our program. But, and the thing is, we always have this analogy of there's a place for everybody. And I think we go out and we find the proper environment for each player. Whether it's at the Division I level, Division II, NAIA, junior college level, we go out and we try to find the best possible environment for those players because we want them to play. We don't want them to go to school and just sit on the bench and hang out. That's not what we're about. We put the time and effort by meeting with the player, going through the options that they have, and being realistic at some point. Obviously, we try to get them to go to certain ID camps so they can get be seen. And also, we have our own ID camp where we bring these coaches, and the feedback we get from the coaches, then we go back to that kid and say, hey, this is the environment for you. This is not the environment for you. And so, that's for various levels. So I think we do a good job of being realistic with our players, and that's just a matter of trust. I think our players trust us. They want to make sure that they know that we're in the best interest for them. And like Joey said, we care, and that's important.
Great. Let's talk about a little bit of our numbers. I know that our numbers have grown as far as recruiting goes. Can you give us a little bit of an idea of, and at what levels, if possible, obviously, Joe, as far as like how many numbers have we put in college in the yearly basis?
Is that for me, Jimmy?
Yes.
Joe? I mean, Jimmy, this year is one of our biggest years, and we're not even through. We had a staff call this weekend, and we know as a club that there's a handful of kids that still need to be taken care of on the boys and girls side, and we literally are all working together. But we're going to be over 50 when it's all said and done. It's a pretty big number. And what I'm really particularly proud of, and Hugh mentioned it, Hugh and I and a few others in the club, there's always seems to be a focus on the top players, right? We're going to take care of the Division I kids. But really, when we brought you in, Jimmy, as well, to add to what we're doing, we're kind of meeting in the middle now, because you've been focusing on the boys and girls that are going to play potentially in the junior college for a few years and then move on in a JUCO situation, or Division II or Division III. So we're working as a team now to really kind of mesh that all together. But we're going to be well into the 50s.
Hugh, can you give us a little bit of history behind that? In the prior years, how has it been?
Well, obviously, Joey and myself is known to be taking the college route first before the pro level. Some clubs are more focused on especially on the boys side, the pro side. We believe that education is the key to everything. In order to be a good pro, you got to be a good knowledge of the game. You gotta have a good learning capacity, and we feel like college creates that learning capacity, and it's so important. Obviously, coaching at high levels that we've done. It's so easy to coach college kids because they're in a learning environment every day. They're getting educated, so that's important. We feel that that's important way to the path that we need to do for our club, and it's part of our philosophy. From we started the club, we've averaged around 30 to 40 kids every year, and now this year we're going to probably surpass 50. So we're and that's a tribute to you, Jimmy, coming in and getting those. Division twos, we have a couple of Division III players, which there's no Division III colleges in Florida, but we do have access to those coaches outside of the state, and then obviously the junior college and the NAIA. So we're covering all aspects of recruiting right now.
That's great. The last question before we go to the meat and potatoes, which is going to be this Q&A that we're going to talk about in a second. The men's side, the boys' side. I know that we get a lot of questions about that, and some people tend to say that FKK is kind of like a girls' placement for college. I know when I testify how you guys are working so hard with the boys program. Can you just give me a little bit of feedback about the boys and how are they doing, how the numbers have grown this year? I know, Joey, we can start with you first and see what how much we have grown from last year to this year, because I know it was a big number.
Yeah. I took the lead this year for the first time in quite some time on the boys ID camp. We had close to 85 boys at the ID camp. We're getting great traction on that. And if you actually look at our numbers this year, one of the reasons we've got into the 50s is we have about 10 boys that are committed to play collegiate soccer, with a couple more ready to go. So like Coach Hughes said, we've always averaged between 30 to 40 kids. And this year, it just went over the top. So we've gotten some great help there. Coach Ray and I are working very closely. And of course, all of us, Hugh, Mark, all of us work together for the betterment of our kids. But our ID camp, our placement in ECNL, our NPL teams are doing fantastic. I mean, here's the reality is 7-8 years ago, Craze Crush, the Craze boys were the top boys in the area. And now what we've done now in the last 6 years with our feeder system, we're right back there. We're right back where we were. Very proud of it. And we've got 6 ECNL teams, 6 NPL teams, and we're growing it. So it's moving in the right direction, our boys program. A lot of notice from the college coaches. There were college coaches actually talking about our teams at ECNL, at the ECNL Showcase. So very, very positive.
Great. All right. So let's talk about this exciting news that we have for our memberships and this Q&A. I know that we're working together to try to get some invitations to some of the college coaches that will be able to answer some questions for our memberships. Hugh, can you give me a little bit of an idea of what is this about? Can you explain to us why are we doing this and what is the objective of this Q&A virtual for our memberships?
All right. Well, obviously, everybody knows the predicament the country's in right now. So obviously, social media and everything is now hyped up more. Everybody is using Zoom, GoToMeetings. So we actually I had a conversation with a college coach, Division I college coach, yesterday about what are some of the things we can do now in recruiting, and obviously we're part of Huddle, the Huddle system, and most of the universities across the country have access to Huddle. So we were just trying to throw some ideas. How are you going to do recruiting now since we can't travel and we can't? So he talked about doing some virtual, and I think this is a great example of something that we need to target, because now we have no access to fields. And a lot of the college coaches right now have time. And that's one thing he said. I'm just sitting at home. I need to be doing something. And I think this is a great avenue for us now to bring them into our club. And it's going to be, I don't know what the number is. There's 2 or 3 coaches, but that's their time to explore our kids on their own versus having, 80 kids at the game, 80 college coaches at the game. Now it's 3 college coaches talking to our club. And I think it gives them a little bit of being more singular versus being just a crowd of coaches. And they get more of the attention. So, and obviously it's, we have all these rules, NCAA rules, which we have to really verify on what levels can do it. But we plan to bring in some coaches here. Obviously the ones that are coaching in our club, which is a great resource for us. So we can bring those in for sure, but it's just trying to see how we can bring the other coaches in.
Joe, what is the idea behind this? Like, what is the purpose of this Q&A? Like, what is the expectation? Do you want parents to send us some questions? Do you want players? What is the idea behind it?
It's just to educate our membership. That's the bottom line on this process. When does the process start for girls versus boys? It's different. So we just want to educate our parents. Obviously, we've got some downtime, plenty of time. So what we're trying to do as a club is trying to add value. And we're sending out videos, training videos, educational videos. We've got SSP doing videos. We're doing everything we possibly can as an organization for our membership. That's the bottom line. And part of the education, Jimmy, Hugh and I have done this for years. I've been, as soon as I finished playing college ball myself, I got into coaching. And again, that was my platform. Day one is to try to help kids. So I don't want to say how many years I've been doing this because it might tell you how old I am. I'm 30 years, all right? And so the bottom line is this. Here, there's some real simple questions, okay? Hugh said it earlier. We have to match up the school with that child. It needs to make sense. So number one, education component. Okay, where can you go? What do you want to study? Make sure that school that you're researching has everything you want. That's number one. Secondly, do you want a big school, small school? Do you want a football program? Understand that football season is during soccer season. So again, we're educating throughout the entire process. Some Division I schools are looking for their players to go to football games and tailgate and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, they want them focused in on the season. So, you have to really educate our parents and our kids on this process, okay? It's playing collegiate sports. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's very gratifying. It's a great thing to have on your resume in the competitive job market, to be able to say I'm a collegiate athlete, no matter what level. Employers love the fact that you have competitive kids, but do you want the size of the school, education? Do you want a school in the city versus, being maybe in the suburbs? What are you looking for? So we go through that entire process. We started at a different age for the boys and the girls. We have them compile a list. And then frankly, once we get that list, we know some of the normal schools are on there that, at a young age, we're all going to go to UCLA and UNC, right? Well, you know what, we have to really get down to really figuring out what level that player can play at. And that's where the experience of Hugh, myself, and others on our staff, and placing them in the right direction, pointing them in the right direction.
Great. Well, first of all, I appreciate the time, guys. You know, this is our very, very first video, kind of introducing this new product that we put in together. I know it's tough times for everybody, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to be proactive as a club. We already have some college coaches lined up waiting for us to just pretty much put them in this kind of videos and answer some questions, but we definitely need your help. We need some questions that you have. Parents, I know you do have questions. So we would like to hear those questions and then kind of ask them what options do they have, what ideas do they have, how do they communicate with players, and so on and so forth. Hugh, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is going to be new for us, but I think it's so informative, and I think we're in a day and age now that social media and all this is a big part of us. And I think we're going to have to get used to this because schools are now looking at doing this. I mean, companies are doing this. So a lot of things are going to be going on platforms like this. And I think we need to be the forefront and kind of lead from ahead with this process. And I think it does gives us a little sense of individuality with the coaches. We get to see what type of person they are because they're also being recruited too, college coaches, when they come on these forums. So it's important that they address the issues, address the questions, and give us the information that we need. And then hopefully we get to, as Joey said, we need to educate our mass, and it's a mass. It's getting bigger and bigger, our club, and we need to create more avenues for them to be recruited.
Awesome. Joe, any final thoughts?
No, Jimmy, I'm excited to work, you with yourself, Mark, our whole group, Hugh. We've got some great resources and college coaches in our club, and we're ready for the questions and then we'll give you the answers.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, guys, for your time. Like I said, this is our first video, so hopefully we look good enough, and then you guys want to see us again. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next one.